Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, Sunex, and with me today, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
That's right, Grumpy. That is you. So before we get into the show, we got to go over a little housekeeping as always. If you guys enjoy the content over here, and even if you don't, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, comment, so we can juice up that algorithm and get this show out to as many people as possible.
Masses.
Everybody watching, even non-Islander fans. Want everybody watching this show. All NHL.
Particularly non-Islander fans.
What?
Particularly non-Islander fans.
I mean, we want everybody watching. But yeah, usually shoot to have the show every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know we're running a little bit late tonight, late. But yeah, we'll work on that. And that is it for my spiel, Grumpy. So as the title suggests, Islanders collapse. What went wrong and what comes next, Grumpy? What do you think went wrong down the stretch? Down the last, 10 games of the season?
The Islanders got exposed. A team that they were. Games stopped going to overtime, and they lose in regulation.
Correct. I can't agree more. Yeah, I think the team just absolutely fell apart. At the end. Do you think that it maybe had to do with players getting tired, worn out, overworked?
I think that Matthew Schaefer hit the wall a little bit, which is to be expected, right? He played 22 games with tournaments last year. He's just turned 18. He kind of ran out of gas just before the Olympic break. He came back. He seemed rejuvenated after a 2-week break. And as the season went on, it seemed like he wore down a little bit again. Teams identified him, and he was still able to generate chances, but teams identified him as the guy they had to stop.
Agreed.
And there was a lot more punishment, a lot more of them hitting him along the boards, not borderline late hit, finishing their checks, I'll say, on him. Mm-hmm. Trying to get him off his game. And, Sorokin, he played a lot of games down the stretch. I think he played the last Riddick played the last game. But I think Sorokin had played 15 straight at that point in time, even with the 3-day rest and the 4-day rest. Still a lot of hockey, particularly for modern NHL goaltenders. And someone like Sorokin, who's, whole game is predicated, not whole game, but the majority of his game is predicated on athleticism as opposed to just strict positioning. It was just a lot of hockey for him. And I thought he kind of wore down a little bit towards the end. I know we talked the Islanders that they fired Patrick Waugh.
They fired Patrick Waugh. We talked about that on the show. Okay. We talked about it on the last show.
I can't remember exactly when he fired him.
No worries. Yeah, he had been fired. I think it was I want to say maybe been fired for like a day or two before we did the
Okay,
show.
that's right.
It wasn't like he was fired long, but yet 1-3 under DeBoer, Grumpy. Not a good track record.
Okay.
To say. I know it's coming in late, but I guess to look towards next year, do you feel like this is kind of worrying going into next season?
That they were 1-3 under Peter DeBoer.
Yeah.
I think it has no bearing at all on next year. Peter DeBoer mentioned in his postseason or post-game presser, whatever it was, that these guys better come back in ready to play next year. He needs to break them down and build them up. I think he's got a job ahead of him because everyone is so comfortable in this organization over the years, the cul-de-sac crew, that he's got his work cut out for him to break these guys down and try to get them to do what they're supposed to do. Can he do it? That'll be the key to next season. The Islanders will be one of the oldest rosters in the NHL next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's problematic.
And their contracts that they have on a lot of their players are really, really poorly structured. Especially for some of the older guys.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it leaves you with a little bit of like no wiggle room at all when it comes to trying to sign other players.
And Darsh, here's Darsh talked today, and we'll be talking about the things they said. Darsh spoke today, and he said, they asked him about the free agent situation. He did a 30-minute presser, which is on NewYorkIslanders.com. I suggest everyone listen to it. Give them a little bit of run. But we'll touch on some of the things. We're not going to touch on everything. But he mentioned how Darsh mentioned that he thought that the free agents were going to be slim pickings. So what does that tell you? Does it tell you anything, X? When the GM is saying that there's going to be
it means get ready to run it back, as they say, for Super Bowl champions, right? Run it back. Let's run it back. That's what you're getting, but from a team that missed the playoffs. So
I agree that you get used to this team, and they're not going to sign a big-time free agent. That's what it says to me.
And I was just going to say that's where my fear comes from. I know you don't think that it's going to have any implication on next year, but if you're running it back with the same team and you're 1-3 under the new coach, you don't feel like that's going to kind of foreshadow next year?
That has nothing to do with Peter DeBoer.
I'm not saying that has to do with Peter DeBoer. I'm saying you're going to have the same casting. I'm saying with the I guess I could phrase it a little bit differently. Was the coach really the issue, right? And I think,
no, the coach wasn't the issue.
If the coach was, well, I'm saying how it's been pushed is if the coach was truly the issue, right? Then this would be worrisome going into next year. You have your new coach in, you have a track record of 1-3 under your new coach. And it seems like your GM, based off of his, end of season interview, doesn't look like he's going to make any moves when it comes to free agency. So you're essentially running the same team. And that's the product that you're getting from that new coach.
But it also says that, first of all, they don't have a whole lot of money. But why is it going into this year? It was supposed to be a big free agent year. Salary cap has really exploded exponentially the last couple of years. It's supposed to do so again next year. So what are teams doing? They're signing their younger players or guys who are coming up on free agents. They're signing them at earlier ages so that they don't hit free agency.
Yeah.
The problem with the Islanders is they don't have any of those problems where we're signing. So that's a problem for them. Are we going to see some young guys get shots like Victor Eklund? I don't know.
Speaking of Victor Eklund, had his NHL debut against Carolina and got an assist.
Yeah.
So,
he looked small. And he's not a big guy.
He's not.
But my gosh, he looked tiny. He looked tiny.
Glad to see him get on the score sheet. So
yeah, absolutely. I just think it's funny how, we knew he was small in stature, but maybe just because going against Carolina. And by the way, Carolina whipped ass with practically an AHL team,
backup squad. That's right.
Well, absolutely, with the backups.
And remember, that's what I'd said. But at that point in time, we were already eliminated, so that's why I ran Rittich and stuff in net. But yeah, that's what I'd said all along was if Carolina clinches that spot, do you feel they're going to run a lot of backups, and they did. We still lost. So
they also asked, just while I remember it, they asked Matthew Darsh about, maybe signing Anders Lee back. And he's like, well, we'd love to. Is that something that you had for the show today, X, or no?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up about signing Anders Lee back. Your thoughts? Do you feel like the team should? Do you feel like we shouldn't? Do you feel like this is kind of, hey, the homer in me wants to sign him back because, he's a lifelong Islander, or, yeah, let's do what's better for the team and not?
Matthew Darsh said today that, he thinks that, he played well for them this year. He still has more to give to the team. But that, they haven't met on a contract yet. So, it all depends if they can work things out. What does that, when a GM says that, and they asked Anders Lee the day before, about contract extension, and he said they hadn't even talked to Matthew Darsh about that yet. What does that, any of that say anything to you?
It doesn't seem like he's going to be signed back.
Okay. What it says to me is he says he'd love to have him back, love to see him play his 1,000th game in an Islander uniform. But what it says to me is, we'll bring you back, but it's got to be at our number. So you're going to have to take a big pay cut, maybe $3 million a year for a couple of years. And would Anders Lee be willing to do that?
And here's the thing. If he's not, don't force it. Don't say, okay, well, we'll pay you what you want so you can come back. Don't force it. Because guess what? It means that guy doesn't care about staying here. It means he just cares about getting paid. That's it. That's all he wants is money.
I just wonder what type of contract is going to be offered. He's certainly not going to get $7 million a year. I don't think he's going to get $5 million. I don't even think he's going to get $4 million. I think they're going to offer him 2 years at $3 million per, take it or leave it. And I think eventually Anders Lee will say, okay, I'll stay. Would I be doing that? And let's say he doesn't stay. What does it say about that you should have moved Anders Lee at the deadline, right?
Yep. So you could at least got something for him.
Missed opportunity.
Nothing.
I know we signed J.G. Pajot back. Why do you want someone like that as, going to be 36 years old when his deal expires? Should have moved him, right? And here's the thing. We're not going to talk about this all off season. The mistakes, maybe once or twice, but we're not going to talk about it all off season about the mistakes that Darsh has made. Because believe me, they were plentiful. But we will talk about a couple things only because he opened his mouth and got me pissed off again, which he tends to do. So like I said, I just found it interesting that Anders Lee is the guy he wants to play hardball with. Now, he saw in Tampa, Brisebois absolutely played hardball with Steven Stamkos and let him walk. I think he's willing to and here's the thing. Anders Lee is no Steven Stamkos. Would they let Anders Lee walk? I guess they could. I mean, you should.
Maybe, you know what? If you have a dollar amount in mind that you're willing to pay for him to keep him here and it's nothing too drastic or crazy, and he doesn't want to accept that, let him go. Let him go. Because he really doesn't care about being here then. Sign him to a 1-year deal.
I think it'll take 2. I think they'll give him 2. Bring him to 38 years old. Like I said, I'm not a fan of signing the old guys. Everyone knows that. But you still have to put bodies on the team.
Sure.
So maybe that's the way they're kind of looking at it.
And I guess let me ask this, with the whole putting bodies on the team, do you see anybody in the farm system getting a chance to come up next year?
Maybe Eklund. Phil's Fax did he had a little a line combination deal.
Did he put it out on Twitter?
I don't know if he did or not. We talked about it on the phone. And he was, hypothetically throwing lines out here. You have Horvat between Simon Holmstrom and Victor Eklund. Here's the thing. He loves Simon Holmstrom. Simon Holmstrom's not a top line player. He isn't. He's fine as a third liner. But Phil has him on the de facto first line. Second line or whoever. I'll just throw the lines out there. Matt Barzal, who Peter DeBoer says is going to be a center. next year. And he's going to, Barzell says he's going to be working on faceoffs all summer. Good for him. Would be centering Callum Ritchie and Kyle Palmieri. Okay. Third line would be J.G. Pajot, Braden Shen, and Emil Henneman. Does that blow your skirt up? It doesn't for me. And I guess Braden Shen is going to be a winger now. But we saw Peter Dorr play him on the wing. Saw him play him on the wing. He can't play center anymore. He can barely play on the wing. Can't skate anymore. And doesn't that make that trade even more egregious when you gave up all those athletes for
assets,
an aging winger?
Yeah. You have first-round draft picks.
And then your bottom pairing would be any combination of Cizikas, Gatcombe, McLean, insert bottom fourth liner here. Pierre Engvall maybe has a shot to play next year. Who knows? I do think everyone will get a clean slate with the new GM. I'm sorry, with the new coach. It'll be interesting. Well, how does Anthony Duclair fit in? I know they want to move him. He had a no-move clause this year.
And here is also something interesting. DeBoer says here he sees Ritchie as being a center going forward.
Okay. So let's say you have Horvat, Barzell, Ritchie, J.G. Pajot, Casey Cizikas, and Braden Shen. There's only 4 lines, and you're talking about 6 centers. What does it mean for J.G. Pajot?
Useless.
What does it mean for Braden Shen?
Useless.
I mean,
yeah, we signed him back. We signed one back, and then we traded away multiple assets for the other.
And you look at Anze Palat, another where we ate salary, right? And we're gonna be talking about that. We're gonna be talking about that in a minute because he managed to piss me off with one comment, just showing how stupid he is as a general manager. Anze Palat was a healthy scratch under Peter DeBoer. Healthy scratch. 36 years old. Got another year at $6 million per. What does it say for Anze Palat? No future with the team under Peter DeBoer.
Nope.
None. He scored 1 goal, his first shift with the Islanders, never to be heard from again. Carson Soucy, bye-bye. Bye-bye. He'll be gone. We did find out that Tony DeAngelo and David Riddick want to come back. They'd love to be back on the island. And I'm like, okay. Did they talk about this is a team that could win a Stanley Cup? No, they're just happy to be there. Just happy to be there. Semyon Varlamov was playing today. His first game in a year and a half down in Bridgeport. Don't know what happened in that game. I'm sure it's probably going on still at this point in time. Don't know. He had high praise for Isaiah George. Okay. And here's the thing. Isaiah George is a puck mover. Not great defensively, not physical really. And again, this is a year you should have found out if these guys in the minors could play on the big team.
Bridgeport won 5-2, Grumpy.
Okay. Who scored?
Oh, that's a good question here. Hold on.
You can look that up because I think Cole Eiserman had some points today.
Let me see here.
Maybe he wants to make a shot at making the roster next year. Who knows? I don't know how you do when you got all these guys under contract. But it'll be interesting, right? These are the types of things that, where if you're an Islander fan now, and like I said, we're not going to be looking too much back in the past. I'm not saying we're not going to talk about it at all, but it's about moving forward now. What can the Islanders do to get better? I mean, 2 straight years not making the playoffs. That's not a success.
It says Matthew Maggio, even the score for Bridgeport as he was left alone in the slot. And
do they not have like a box score?
No, not that I see on their website. They don't.
I'm going to guarantee there's a box score somewhere.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. We'll move past that.
Okay.
Every game has if you see a score, it's got a box score and it breaks down everything. It does. Go to AHL.com and it'll pull it up the game and just go to box score. That's how you can do it. We just want to see what's going to happen going forward. Quinn Finley was signed. Danil Prokhorov is coming over to play at Bridgeport. Callum Ritchie and Isaiah George are both being sent down to play for Bridgeport. So maybe they can make a run in the playoffs. Great. I mean, does that really matter to any Islander fan? Doesn't matter to me if the AHL team wins or loses. You don't want to be historically bad like they were last year. But it's a developmental league. That's what it is. You're developing players for the big roster. That's what you're doing. Wins and losses don't mean much.
There we go. Foudy had one. Victor Eklund.
Foudy was sent down also.
Matthew Maggio, and then Luke Rowe, and also Adam Beckman. They won 5-2. 5-2. Yes.
Any assists for Cole Eiserman?
Cole Eiserman had 3 assists today.
Primary or secondary?
He had
primary assist is the first one, the first assist. Secondary is the second one.
I am aware. Give me a second. I'm trying to find his name. He had 3 primary assists.
So it was Foodie from Eiserman and then somebody else?
Matthew Highmore had an assist, primary assist.
Okay, so then he didn't have 3 primary assists.
And then Matt Luff had a primary assist.
Okay, so he probably had no primary assists.
Okay, I'm looking at
the
first one assist. Okay.
I hate having to explain everything to you. The first one is the goal scorer. Then it'll have a parenthesis.
Yeah, you see how the first one right here?
No.
I read left to right.
Look at the box score. You got to look at the box score.
There is no box score, Grumpy.
There it is right there, X. Eklund from, I can't read it, so small.
Ethan Bear.
So Ethan Bear gets the primary assist, and Cole Eiserman got the secondary assist. Power play goal. Liam Foodie, primary assist from Cole Eiserman, and Ethan Bear, the secondary assist. Then Matthew Maggio from Cole Eiserman, that's a primary assist. So it looks like, I mean, for me,
2 primaries and then 1 secondary.
What do you want Cole Eiserman to be doing?
Scoring
goals. That's his calling card, is scoring goals. So, I mean, that's what you're looking for from him. But, hey, he's putting points up, which is good for him because he hadn't been doing that at all. So, does Cole Eiserman have a shot to make the roster? I'm going to say no for next year. I think he could benefit being a full year in Bridgeport, to be honest with you, learning what it's like to be a professional, learning how to play a two-way game to some extent. I think Victor Eklund probably has the better chance of making the team out of camp. There's not going to be a whole lot of spots available. I mean, think about how many guys you have under contract.
A lot.
I mean, so it's not like there's a whole lot of spots available.
And the thing is, some of the guys you have under contract, you can't move.
Most of them.
You move them because their contracts are so bad, or
there's no move. Or they have no trade clauses.
Yep.
That's the case with Anthony Duclair. He vetoed trades this year. He didn't want to leave.
Now, let me ask you a question, Grumpy. Do you see the Islanders as potentially trading Matt Barzal this year?
No.
Season?
No.
Would you if you were GM?
Matt Barzal? No.
You wouldn't trade him?
No.
For first-round picks?
No. I'd try to get some of the other guys. Matt Barzal's not the problem on this team.
I'm not saying Matt Barzal is the problem. I'm not saying that one bit. I'm saying
then why would I trade Matt Barzal?
What other guys would you trade that could actually fetch you something?
Probably Pellick or Pulak.
And what do you think you could fetch for both of them?
Probably at least first-round pick for each. Least.
Late first-round picks. So what you're going to get. You're going to get late first-round picks.
No, not if you're trading them in the offseason. You can trade them to any number of teams in the offseason. I mean, what is their do you know what their contract status is?
Give me a second, I can find it.
At this point, I mean, we can pull that up and just look at their contract status because, I mean, that'll tell you a lot about if they're tradable, if they want to get dealt. If you have a limited no trade clause, there's just so many guys that you can.
Adam Pellick is 5 of 8, gets $5,750,000 a year,
which is very, very affordable. He has a modified no trade clause, so it's a 16-team no trade list. Ryan Pulak makes six. He has a full no trade clause for this coming season. He makes $6.15 million. I mean, a guy I would try to move honestly is Alexander Romanov. I know you just signed him that ridiculous deal, but he has one more year where where you can trade him to anyone you want in 2027, 28, 27, 27, 2028, 2029. He has a no trade clause. So then you got to kiss his ass to trade him. I'm trying to move him next year. He's the least appealing Islander defenseman as far as I'm concerned.
And the thing is, you would still probably be able to fetch something for him just because he's younger.
Yeah. 26 years old, under contract, and the money he's going to make is $6.25 million.
Yeah. But he's younger, so I mean that could entice teams to want him. I would say that's probably a realistic trade candidate, I'd say. But yeah, you wouldn't even hear out offers for Barzal?
Why do you want to trade Matt Barzal?
I'm not saying that I want to trade him. I'm just saying I would trade everyone on the team if I could. This team's not going anywhere.
You're not trading everyone on. You can't trade everyone on the team. And here's the thing: you want to get rid of the guys who are not going to be here long term. By the time the Islanders are good again, they're going to be gone. Believe me, within 2 years after now, you're going to see a lot of change in this.
How old is Barzal?
28.
Okay, so you think within 5 years he's going to be the same player that he is now by the time the team gets good? Because we're 5 years away from being good.
You're going to see this not the whole team, but you're going to see massive change in the next 2 years.
So you think at 34, he's still going to be producing 70 points a year?
His game is going to age well.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like his game, a lot of it's at least.
I'm not looking to trade Matt Barzal.
Cutting, but
I'm not looking to trade Matt Barzal.
Bo Horvat, would you look to trade him? I would.
If the offer was right, I'd move him.
What about Sorokin?
No, not right now. Because you have no one to step in.
But my point is, if the team is just absolutely god awful,
it's not going to be.
You're going to be getting good draft picks every year.
They're not going to be god awful next year. They're not. Now, I think.
Do you think Sorokin's going to perform just like he did this year and stand on his head next year and get him to overtime in majority of games, or get him to loser point, or single-handedly pitch shutouts for the team to get them wins?
Probably not.
So they're going to be worse than they were this year. So again, they won't make the playoffs.
Okay. I guess I'm just not prone to trading the best players on the team. And here's the thing. Ilya Sorokin has a no move clause for the next 2 years. So he's not going anywhere. He's going nowhere. So, you could say I want to get rid of guys who don't bring anything to the table.
But okay, so you want to get rid of, and I think that's what every team would love to do, right? They want to get rid of guys that aren't going to bring anything to the table. What GM is going to be like, oh yeah, this guy was so good for the Islanders, we want him here?
Well, it's so funny you bring that up, because one of the quotes that I sent you today, Matthew Darsh talked about what he felt about the trade deadline this year. And if you could pull that up, because I think it's really informative. It just shows what a loser he is as a general manager. Ethan Sears put this out, and I think Chris Botta also quoted it as well. Darsh on the trade deadline. Whether people agree with me or not, that it helped the team or not, that's everyone's prerogative, and it's fine. Okay. So you know what he's saying there?
I don't care what people think.
They're all right. They're all right. Because it didn't work out.
It did not.
Whether it worked out, I guess we're not in the playoffs, so it didn't all work out. It didn't work out at all. You picked up, what, $18 million in salary?
To not make the playoffs.
And just take away assets that you could have used to acquire either a good young player, or once again go into the draft with more assets and load up on young talent to expedite the rebuild.
Hemorrhage draft picks. That's great.
Right. I don't think it's because of these deals, but I felt at the moment it improved the team and the way we played after those acquisitions showed it. He's wrong. Those guys were they were maybe the worst players on the team, every single one of them. And then he made a big deal. The Islanders won 4-5 after the deadline. He viewed the Ottawa game as a clear turning point. That's where they lost in the last 11 seconds. Can we bring up the 5 games that were right after the deadline? I think the first one was
you read all this. Okay, let me.
First was against San Jose, and then the St. Louis game, followed by the Kings. That's where we won 4-5.
San Jose. You said the last 5 games?
No, the 5 games right after the trade deadline.
Okay,
which was March
7th.
Maybe it was March 7th. The San Jose game was the first one.
Yes, that's March 7th here.
Can we pull those games up? Because just for shits and giggles, I want to see, what he's talking about. Okay. They had trade deadline, and that was after they got beat by the Kings. Then they go and they trade for Braden Shen. They'd already had the useless Palat and the equally shitty Carson Soucy on the team. They beat the Sharks. They held on, got the game to overtime, where they were undefeated this year.
Yep,
undefeated. They bring in Shen, and they stopped. Sorokin stopped numerous chances on a big power play right at the end of the game. So that was a game they were outplayed by the Sharks, overwhelmingly part of that game. The next game against the Blues, they went down 3. So that's okay. Boy, I guess they weren't great in that game, but I guess he counts that as a win. So that proves his point. Against the Blues, okay. Blues had a 3-0 lead in that game, totally dominating the Islanders. And then Buskevich was offside by a skate blade, which would have made it 4-0. St. Louis falls apart. The Islanders scored 3 goals in the third, and they win that game in overtime to go 2-0. Okay? They lose to the Kings, where they were totally dominated. They beat the lowly frickin' Flames, okay, where they were outplayed for stretches. That was a Saturday afternoon game. Outplayed for stretches of time by Calgary, who was a bottom 5 team in the league. And then they beat the Leafs, who were the second worst team in the Eastern Conference and had given up on the season at that point in time. Then let's just look at the other games, right, just afterwards, because this is a typical GM trade. Actually, it's something Phil does. He'll pick some abstract little section of the season and try to say, well, that's what the Islanders are. But let's take a look after that, right? They get absolutely shit canned by Montreal. Columbus, which started the I don't know if they won a game after that Islander game. They beat Columbus 1-0. They lose to the Blackhawks, edge the Stars.
Which is astounding.
Right. I mean, beat the Panthers. I know he's not including these games,
terrible.
Right?
Panthers are terrible. Absolutely obliterated by the Pens. Lost to the Sabres. Killed by the Flyers. Lost to the Hurricanes. Not a shock there. It's just, it's more of the same. They beat the teams that are bad. Well, I mean, earlier on in the year, they were beating the teams that they shouldn't, and they were losing to the teams that they should be beating. And then towards the end of the season, they fell back into standard form, losing to getting killed by teams that are better than them, and beating, teams that are the worst in the league.
Yeah. I know it's just a sticking point for me. What a lot of people should have asked was, and no, of course, none of them do because they're afraid to ask questions. He came out and said last week that, the Islanders pretty much a winner with smoke and mirrors all year, right? Sorokin being great, Schaefer being great, and, he intimated they didn't deserve to be where they were, and that's why he made the deals at the deadline. As a GM, that's not what you do. As a general manager, you have to you don't look at the immediate. You're not a fanboy being a manager of a team. You have to look at the future of the organization. You should be looking, everything for you as a general manager should be looking to, unless you're, top of the heap, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. That's what you should be doing. He did not do that. He's not a good steward of the organization. He's not. By his own account, they were winning with smoke and mirrors, and he pissed away assets to make the team better in the immediate future and in the next few years. He did that to double down on a team that was winning with smoke and mirrors.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, is you knowingly, because you said it yourself, knew that this team was barely scraping by with wins. Yet you continue to say, this is a team that can make a serious push in the playoffs. Let's go all in.
How'd that work out for you?
He's got people saying out with Darsh, get rid of him. He's got people picketing in front of Nassau or UBS. Sorry.
Okay. Now at the trade deadline, the Islanders were up 8 points on the Flyers. They closed the season being down 7 points to the Flyers. That's a 15-point swing. Yep. And believe me, it's not like the Flyers were rocketing up the charts, winning every game. They were pissing away games every so often to teams like Detroit down the stretch.
Yep.
That's a failure for the general manager.
The ultimate collapse.
And I don't know if you remember, they talked about Patrick Waugh. Maybe he loved it. He wanted the Islanders to win, even though he wasn't coach. He loved the team. He's rooting for the team to make the playoffs. And, he's maybe going to be a scout. And they said today, no, he's not going to be a scout on the team. And I'm going to ask you a question, X. Do you think that Patrick Waugh was rooting for the Islanders to make the playoffs?
After they canned him? No.
Well, that's what the cartel media.
No, God, no. Why would he?
The fake media was reporting. They're
After
like,
you just got fired? After
Yeah.
you just got fired? Yeah. No sane human would be like, hey, I just lost my job. Yeah, I'm going to definitely pull for these people to have success. It's not like he retired and said, oh, I no longer want to coach anymore. I'm going to go ahead and retire. Great success to you guys. I hope the best for you in the playoffs. No, he was canned. No sane human being is gonna pull for a company or anything that just fired them, gonna root for their success after they got fired. Nobody would do that.
Nobody. I just think it's so disingenuous. They posted something when Peter DeBoer said with 4 games to go, or maybe there was 3 to go. They posted, it was definitely 3 to go. He said, well, you know what? This is the Islanders media for you. Okay. The people who are trying to make people watch the team. I don't know what they do. Their marketing group. Peter DeBoer comes out and says, well, you know what? It comes down to these last 4 games. These are like 4 game 7s. Everything's a game 7. And then they put a little blurb at the bottom. Peter DeBoer is 9-0 in game 7s. Okay. I hate to tell you, that's in the playoffs. And if you want to count that, now he's 10-3. Okay. And look at the team they beat. Toronto, who just had mailed it in.
Your captain and the best player on your team was out for the remainder of the year. It'd be like the Islanders losing Schaefer.
The GM had been fired. Head coach is gone.
They said, hey, let's see if we can get the best draft pick possible this year.
They don't care. They're done.
They don't. And they shouldn't. That's what a team should do when they're awful. They should absolutely try and tank.
And can you pull that back up again?
Oh, sorry. You didn't tell me that you needed it.
Well, I didn't tell you to take it down either. I just wanted to look at the last 4 games of the year. The Peter DeBoer era, which has begun. Okay. The Islanders wind up having, they came off that 4 days off before beating the Maple Leafs.
And the Maple Leafs game was close for a while, by the way.
It was. The biggest game of the year for both teams was against Ottawa on a Saturday afternoon. Right?
Yep.
I think Ottawa was on the second half of a back-to-back. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't matter. They came out into Belmont Arena, and they shut the Islanders out. Islanders were no threat to score. Then they get destroyed by a Canadiens team 4-1. And then, of course, they lose to the AHL Charlotte Checkers, the Carolina Hurricanes, in the final game of the season. I don't know. The Islanders scored 2 goals over the last 3 games in the Peter DeBoer era. Is that good enough? I don't think so.
Well, he coached 5. He coached 4 games, but
the last 3 games of the year, though. You know what? If Matthew Darsh can cherry pick those 4 games, I'm going to cherry pick the last 3 because this is the new coach now.
That's true.
So they were on a pace, honestly, to score what, 68 goals a year?
Woo!
I mean, is that what they're going to be next year? A team that scores 68 goals? That's what I mean. Don't cherry pick Matthew Darsh. Don't cherry pick.
Very true.
What was their record after that game? After that All-Star, after the trade deadline? I know they finished 4-9 down the stretch. Not good enough.
1, 2, 3.
I mean, bottom line is they fell apart down the stretch. Fair to say?
Yes, they absolutely did.
Okay. Now, were the players tired? I don't know.
Could have been.
Here's the thing. They're not.
Here's what I think. Here's what I'll say. Here's what I think. I think the contributors to the team got tired at the end of the year. I'll say that. The Matthew Schaefers, the Ilya Sorokins, the Matthew Barzals, they are the ones who got tired at the end of the season.
Okay. I mean, again, I said it since day one. This season meant absolutely nothing to me. This was a transition season to see who could be part of the next iteration of the Islanders. You move out some of the old guys who are on expiring deals. You get more assets. I was adamant from day one, right through the deadline. That's what I was saying. He chose the opposite direction. And what was the record last year in non-overtime games? I believe there's a tweet that shows their record from last year to this year.
I will pull it up. Give me 1 second.
Because I would ask Matthew Darsh, hey, dude, do you think you're going to have the same puck luck winning 10 games in overtime, going 10-0, all-time record?
They went 20, and last year they were 28, 35, and 19, 12th in the East. And
in regulation.
In regulation, correct. And then this year, 25, 26, they went 29, 34, and 19. So essentially the same exact record.
1 game difference.
Yep.
And you had A-plus Sorokin and sensational Schaefer.
And the Calder Trophy winner.
That's right. Sensational Schaefer. Right?
And you can only
you 1 game better in regulation. Overtime is a crapshoot. Everyone knows it. You're not going to go 10-0 next year. And I'm going to say it again. Without Ilya Sorokin this year, and this proves it out right here. This proves out right here. Without Ilya Sorokin and Matthew Schaefer and a healthy Barzal for the whole year, this team is the New York Rangers. Right down there is the worst team in the conference. That's what the Islanders are. The fact that Matthew Darsh, and here's the thing, even a boneheaded clown like Matthew Darsh should have seen this. He should have known. He knew it. And he did know it. He did know it. He doubled down and tripled down on suck. That's what he did. And he failed. Epic fail. This year is an epic fail for Matthew Darsh and for the Islanders.
Yep.
Matthew Schaefer will be better next year. He's going to put on some more weight. He's going to put on some more strength. But teams are going to attack him. You started seeing it. Detroit was a team that attacked him. Every single time he had the puck, they hit him and hit him hard. You're going to see more and more of that next year.
And here's my thing. They know that he is the most, and I'll say the most skilled player on the team. Absolutely. So they know that they're going to have to cover him. That's the thing. You can't leave him open. You're going to have to stay up on him. You're going to have to cover him. You can't let him get opportunities. And that's why I think you're going to see his point production dip a little bit next year.
I disagree. I think he'll put up more points next year.
I don't.
But he's going to they're
going to say, let's have somebody else beat us than that kid. They're going to be playing for him.
I just think that he's going to have to absorb more punishment. He's going to have to get used to it. And are the Islanders going to be any better offensively? Peter DeBoer wants to play defense first.
If you're playing defense first, production is going to go up if they're playing defense first.
I think he'll score all their goals for them. So, I mean, here you're only talking about them scoring 68 goals last year if you go by the last 3 games of the year.
God. That's exactly my point. His point production is not going to be better.
I think he'll be better. I think he'll be better next year just because he's a year older. He's sensational. He's sensational.
Okay, I'm not saying that I don't think his game will be better next year. I do think his game will improve, having a year under his belt. I'm saying I don't think he's going to produce as many points as he did this year. That's all.
I'm ready for the draft. I was hoping we'd have more picks.
Agreed. And then I'll put up the last.
The Islanders are picking 13th in the draft. 13th.
Well, there's a couple of things you sent me here. We can pull this one up first. This is from Stefan Rosner. Barzal said that he had to work through things related to his injury he sustained last February. Said his injury take a year or two to truly feel back to normal. Said talking to Pete. The plan is for him to be a center, which we already discussed, going to work really hard this summer for faceoffs, which you had previously stated. And then I'll post up the last thing that you had here, Grumpy.
And if you put him with Kyle Palmieri is going to be 36 years old next year, coming off a knee injury.
And yeah, this is the last thing you had sent, Grumpy.
Okay. Chris Botta says, let's face it. This is the one that burns my ass. Let's face it. When I took this job last year, I knew that for 2 years, we'd have a fairly similar roster. In the end, contracts are contracts. They are there. Anybody can say, well, you can get rid of this contract, but it takes two to tango, to tangle, right? It's tango, moron, dipshit. Two to tangle, right? It's tango, you stupid bastard. Said GM Matthew Darsh today. God damn, you stupid fuck. He said today, doing what most GMs do, letting fans know his perception of what he inherited. Okay.
Oh my God.
I want to touch on the part that it takes two to tangle, right? Tango, moron. You know what? I hate when people are really stupid like that. It bothers me. You know, that's the one thing, X. You know, the things that bother me, stupid people bother me. It
does bother you. I know that for a fact.
Right, my whole life, right? When somebody's stupid, man, does it bother me. I don't deal with stupid well. I really don't.
Yeah.
The Rangers were able to find somebody to tangle with when they moved Carson Soucy for a second-round pick. What type of idiot general manager would give away a second-round pick for a guy on an expiring deal who's maybe the worst defender on the Rangers team? Oh, hold on. Oh, Matthew Darsh. The New Jersey Devils were able to find someone to tangle with by trading Anze Palat, who had this year and another year at $6 million per, when he's a healthy scratch. How were they able to get his contract off of their roster? Who'd they call? Oh, Matthew freaking Darsh.
And that's what I was going to say, Grumpy, is unfortunately, there's no other.
Let me finish. St. Louis Blues. They were open for business. They had 3 years left, 2 years plus the current year of Braden Shen. And what was Doug Armstrong, who's got 1 foot out the door already, retiring? He's able to get a first, a third, a goaltending prospect, and Jonathan Drouin for useless Braden Shen. Who did he tangle with? Oh, this stupid bastard Matthew Darsh. So, yeah, they could get it done. Unfortunately, there's only one Matthew Darsh in the league. So he kept on trading assets to take on more of these contracts. That's why he's a failure. You know something? I heard Doug Armstrong is up for the GM of the Year trophy. St. Louis didn't even make the playoffs. But that heist of Matthew Darsh, I mean, he went home and just you know what, honey? Went home to his wife. He said, he knows he's retiring. Alexander Steen or Thomas Steen is taking over as a GM. He's like, honey, you know what? I still got it. I still fleeced that guy on Long Island. That's a guy I fleeced.
And as I was trying to say earlier, that's the thing. The unfortunate thing is, Grumpy, when you're talking about trading these guys, there are no moron GMs left in the league. We have the only one. So who are you going to trade these players to?
Contracts are contracts. Yeah, they are, particularly when you're the one trading for the contracts when your team sucks. I mean,
trading away draft picks and assets.
It's
a win-win situation. Honestly, he probably had to take a break. He probably was like, "Hey, is the signal still there?" So he was making the phone call to make the trade because he couldn't believe what he just heard.
I swear, I think he's a Ranger plant. I think he's a Ranger plant. You couldn't have fucked up the Islanders any more than you did than what he did this year. He's a plant. He's a Ranger plant.
Or a Tampa plant.
Tampa doesn't give a shit about the Islanders. They beat them anytime they want. That's like Carolina.
Maybe they saw them as becoming a potential threat.
Let me tell you something. Coffee Boy is the worst GM in the league. He's the worst GM in the league.
Coffee Boy. Grumpy.
Yes, Mr. Breezeball. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What did you want in that latte? Did you want it to look like Christmas tree? I'll take care of that, sir. I'll take care of that. He's a barista at the Stars Bucks. That's what he was when he was with Tampa.
Oh my God.
He's a loser. He's a loser. And here's the he knows it. He knows it. He knows he's a failure. His kids, he wants to be by his kids. His kids don't want to be by him after the way he managed the team this year. Oh shit. No, he's not my dad. No.
Well, here, let me ask Grumpy, off season, what possibly could be done to give the Islanders any glimmer of hope for next year?
He just told you he can't trade anyone for the next 2 years. He just came out and said it. Maybe he'll trade more assets. Okay. Seriously, he's not going to trade the first pick in the draft. I cannot see that happening. They have a draft. They have the draft number 13, and I don't think they pick till somewhere in the hundreds.
Potentially, there's a possibility for the Islanders to get the third overall pick in the draft. They have a 4.6 or 4.3% chance.
Okay, they're not getting struck by that bolt of lightning again. The hockey gods gave them a chance, and they're looking down at Darcy like, "Hey, we blessed you once, not again, brother. Then not again. We wasted a gift on you." That's what they're saying. Wasted a gift on you.
So I guess to answer to ask my question again, what possibly could the Islanders do during the off season to potentially provide a glimmer of hope for next year?
Okay. Do you want to bring up their roster from Puckpedia and look at next year's team? There's not a whole lot unless you move players off the roster, which he just said is almost impossible. Maybe for a guy like that, it's impossible. If you're not pissing away assets for aged veterans. I mean, let's take a look.
Give me 1 second. Hold on.
You got Palmieri, who's back. I think he has a no. Okay, I have it up here. Don't worry about it.
No, give me a second. I got it pulled up right here. I had to exit out of the ad that pops up at the bottom because it's so annoying.
Okay. Matt Barzal, not going anywhere. Bo Horvat, not going anywhere. Anders Lee, if he comes back, it'll be on a cheapy deal. That's fine.
How much would you be willing to pay Anders Lee per year for the 2-year contract? How much?
$3 million
per. Yep, it's a hefty wage cut for him.
Yeah, well, you're 36 years old.
No, I agree with it. I'm not disagreeing with it at all. I'm just saying I can't see him as taking that. But.
Well, then go somewhere else.
And I agree with you. I was just wondering what you think. What would be your highest amount that you'd offer him to stay?
$3 million per. I honestly I pay him year to year. I don't want to give him 2 years, year to year. But look at how many guys they have who will absolutely be with the team next year. Barzal, Horvat, Shen, Pajot, Palmieri, Holmstrom, Engvall, Casey Cizikas, Emil Henneman. That's 9 forwards. 9 forwards. And Kyle McLean. I mean, you got Mark Gatcomb. He's an RFA. You figure they'll sign him back, right?
Yeah.
If Anders Lee comes back, that's 11. Okay? I mean, maybe you move out Anze Palat. Maybe you buy him out. Boy, how does that deal look? Buying him out.
Awful.
I mean, just terrible. So you pay him for the next 2 years to pay for this awful deal. But there's not a whole lot of spots open, right? All these guys are signed, and if you're going to bring up a Victor Eklund or a Cole Eiserman, you're not going to play them on the fourth line.
No.
You're going to play them on scoring lines. I mean, so it's what can you do? Then look at your defense. Your defense next year. Matthew Schaefer, Scott Mayfield, Adam Pelech, Ryan Pulak, Romanov. There's 5 guys. I know they want to sign D'Angelo back. As I mentioned earlier, D'Angelo and Riddick want to come back. Tony D'Angelo has no market. No market. To me, he's a year-to-year guy. He's a year-to-year guy. Carson Soucy and his $3.25 million will be gone. Okay? Adam Boqvist. Are they going to re-sign him? I think they'll probably re-sign him back as an RFA. Is Varlamov going to come back? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they want to see how he plays. He has a limited no-trade clause. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of movement on this team unless you start trading away defensemen. But then do you have anyone in the minors really ready to step up and replace a Pelech or a Pulak? A Romanov you could replace with a freaking box. You could put him out there. You know something? I was talking with, people have been talking about, well, maybe they'll put, since they don't have enough right shot defensemen, let's put Matthew Schaefer on the right side.
Yes,
Let him play on the right side.
I think we discussed this. Yeah.
Well, you know what I think they should do? They might as well play Romanov on his offside because the way he plays on the left side, it's like he's playing the right side anyway, because he's always out of freaking position, that cocksucker. He just always out of it. I hate him. There's really not much the Islanders can do this offseason, barring some type of trade. But you don't have any assets anymore that anyone wants.
You trade away your picks. You re-signed the one guy that you could have gotten assets for, and you're planning on trying now he's a free agent, the other guy that you could have traded away. So the only way you could possibly get anything for him is if you re-sign him back and then trade him. So you're kind of just stuck.
Right, they're stuck.
So do you think we're going to have another repeat of the last 2 seasons where we have a similar record?
Yes.
Do you see the Islanders as being better or worse next year?
Around the same.
Around the same. But do you think that
the reason why I say around the same, Washington's going to be better. They had a boatload of injuries this year.
Yeah.
They're going to be better. Hated Philadelphia Flyers are going to be better. The Martone kid is a player. I mean, he comes in and he's phenomenal. He's really good.
Columbus was finding form at the end of the year too.
Rick Bowness come out. All right. Columbus lost what?
Yeah, I heard he came out and said he's like this team, they just didn't give a shit. He said something like that. Yeah.
He said if he comes back, there's going to be a dramatic culture shift in this team.
Yeah. And he said they just played like they didn't give a shit.
Yeah. He called them all quitters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if he talked to Don Waddell, the general manager, but when the head coach is shredding you like that, if he comes back, everyone's on notice. And you wonder who he's talking about. You have to talk about leadership, right? I mean, Boone Jenner, maybe Zach Werenski.
Well, think about the unfortunate thing for their team is they lost one of their big leaders with Johnny Gaudreau.
That's 2 years ago.
I'm still saying.
It's not like they were winning with Johnny Gaudreau either.
Okay. You're talking about leadership and no leadership. He's a leader.
I don't know if he's a leader. I don't know if he was a leader.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. He ain't been there for 2 years. They were in a playoff spot and they lost 9 out of 10 down the stretch. 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
To close out the season. That's Islander-like.
But they hit a nice streak. They did hit a nice streak.
And they gagged it away because they're losers. And they're quitters. When the coach comes out and questions your integrity.
Hustle, yeah.
Man, that's a slam. And he pretty much called out the whole room.
Yep.
The whole room. Call them quitters. Yikes. Now, who might be available from Columbus? Would you take a dip into the Columbus Seas? Maybe somebody you could get cheap? How about Kent Johnson, former 4th overall pick, who's absolutely been dog shit for them this year? What do you think he's worth? Oh, we don't have any picks to maybe move for Kent Johnson. Oh, that's a guy I'd roll the dice on.
23-year-old.
Yeah, he's a guy I'd roll the dice on. Why not roll the dice on a Kent Johnson? His numbers were horrible this year. Terrible. Last year I opined that the Islanders should have traded for Trevor Zegras when he was available. He went for a bag of freaking peanuts.
Yeah, he 22 points in 76 games played this year.
Terrible.
Yep.
Terrible.
7 goals, 15 assists.
He's a TJ favorite, by the way. Kent Johnson. He loves Kent Johnson. And I'll give him credit. He wants Kent Johnson on the Islanders. Or Elias Pettersson. Those are the type of guys who are depressed assets. If you want to try to improve your team, you're going to have to try to get guys who are depressed assets that maybe you could get for 50 cents on the dollar. I don't know if Columbus would do that, but if he's one of the guys that he's calling a quitter, roll the dice on a guy like that. We got leadership now in the room, right? That's why
all we have is leadership. We got leadership and no workers.
No talent.
Yep.
Interesting. But those are the type of moves I feel the Islanders are going to have to make. They're not going to take a big swing. They're not. They're not going to trade the first overall pick. The number 13 pick in the draft, their first overall pick. No. They're not going to do that. I cannot see that. I don't care how much Peter DeBoer says, he wants to, have this team be a veteran team to win next year. They're not doing that. They're just not going to do that.
So, would you be opposed to the Islanders doing something that like Buffalo did, which is just years of failure to build up the young guys on your team?
Buffalo had the wrong general manager, and it wasn't until they got a pretty good better goaltending in recent years, and their defensemen aged up. I said they could have traded years ago, for Varlamov and Mayfield. I would have made that move when they were in their walk years with Buffalo. That's what Buffalo's needed for the last number of years. They can always score goals. They just don't have a steady defensive presence or a good goaltender. That's a deal that I openly politicked for. And they didn't do it. And Mayfield is washed now, and Varlamov with the knee injury, right? But he was healthy at the time.
Yeah.
And Lou Lamoriello said, Varlamov? Well, we never even thought about that. I'm like, what? That's how you knew the old man was gone. He was finished mentally.
We traded in the old man for the new man.
Old, bold, and dumb for young, bold, and dumb. Wasn't that my first comment when he was on?
That was your first comment.
There you go.
That was your first comment. Let's get into some comments. Speaking of comments, Grumpy, let's get into some comments.
Okay. Matt C says, Grump, did you see Rick Bonus's comments from Columbus yesterday? If so, what did you think? We just talked about that.
Yep.
Yeah. Gungun says, if there's any correlation between the Islanders' collapse and Sunex defiantly refusing to replenish Grumpy's water supply throughout the season, was Sorokin hung out to dry? He absolutely was hung out to dry. Yep. He still doesn't fill up that water supply. He has no problem eating the food, drinking whatever. The warden goes out and buys him his little drinks, and she puts his drinks in the refrigerator, but she don't put the waters in there either. Make sure she takes care of a little Sonny boy, though. Isn't that right, X?
That's right, she does.
Flex Crew says, wanted to get rid of Lou just to get someone worse than Lou. They're the same guy. Lamoriello was better than Darce, though. But he was gutting the franchise as well. JP says, these owners are frauds and need to sell now. I'm not going to say they're frauds. I'm going to say they're absentee owners. Now, I think that Johnny Ledecky, I think he has different views from Scott Malkin. Scott Malkin lives in London. I don't think he even cares. I don't even think he cares. But I think he has some different views, but he's a minority owner. Doesn't matter what he thinks. It's a shame. Yep. Matthew Sklar says, good evening, gents. Choke job complete. What a failed season. Yeah.
That's correct. Yep.
And Darsh wound up driving in that final stake through the heart. Done. Todd Mass says, fire Darsh. Absolutely.
Comment of the night, don't. But no, we're on board.
The man was correct all along. Of course. Never. Don't doubt. Don't doubt. I tell people what's going to happen before it happens. JP says the New York sports medicine staff is competent. That's that. LOL. Everything else is a flipping mess. Sports medicine staff is competent.
They're the only thing he's saying, the only thing that's good about the New York New York Islander sports organization is that their medical staff is competent.
Okay, I got you. JP says the Braden Shen trade is the hockey operations crime against humanity.
It's a good one.
It's not the worst Islander trade of all time, though.
It's up there, though.
No. The Milbury trade of Luongo and Jokinen for Parrish and Kavash is the worst. That's the worst of all time. Rich Arnold says, same team coming back next year, boys. Yeah. Schaefer will be a year older. Sorokin probably not as good as this year. I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but, goalies are kind of up and down from year to year. Freedom Fun Event says, Grumpy, I really enjoyed chopping it up with you and TJ again. We did a little, I don't know what it is.
Something on Twitter.
Yeah. TJ, he was back in his glory days. TJ gets a lot of shots fired in his direction, but we all definitely miss him. Hope you guys continue to do those Twitter chats. Meatball Parm says, don't know who I hate more right now, the Isles or the Mets. Okay. It's the Islanders. The Mets, once Juan Soto comes back from the injury list, they'll be better. It's just a huge hole in their lineup. It just is. Gungun says, Grumpy, if Darsh wanted to phone you and apologize, would you take his call? Why does the Islanders power play keep coming up small? Okay. If Darsh called me to apologize, I would tell you what I think. Yeah, I take his call, even if he didn't want to apologize, just to talk, just to tell me what the pickleball courts are like, what I want for coffee, that type of stuff. Do I take 2 sugars or 3? Yeah, I talk to him, no problem. It was interesting. Braden Shen talked about the Islanders power play, said he could see the power play, could be better. It just needs to be faster. It's not fast enough. This is the best this is the most speed the Islanders power play has had in 5 or 6 years, was this year. It's always been painfully slow, thus easy to defend. I've talked about that for years. They're too ponderous on the power play. When Anthony Duclair plays on the first power play unit, they're much better because he's a quick puck mover. Matthew Barzal tends to skate around with it. Matthew Schaefer at the point, he gets a pass for me because he's looking to make those passes down low or shoot the puck or get good angles.
Yep.
But other than that, it's just a slow power play unit always has. This year was faster, though, and it's interesting that Shen thought it was too slow. So that tells you how slow it really is. Rich Arnold says, Lee's coming back 2 years, $4.5 million bank on it. I think that's too much for him. He doesn't deserve that. Thomas Mato says, sounds like Darsh is going to shake down this team. Not sure how, but he already spoke about it. Yeah, if you're ripping it down to the studs, what he did in season was even more of a crime.
Worse. If you knew that, and that was the one thing I was going to say about you talking on the phone with him, like if you had the opportunity to talk on the phone with him, would be what direction is this team going? Are we rebuilding? Are we, trying to be contender for the cup every year? Are we retooling? What are we doing?
You want me to hear? This is what I hear. Matt, ask that. Hey, what's the direction of the team, Matthew Darsh? You'd hear. Boop. He'd just hang up because he has no direction for the team. Oh, we must have got disconnected.
Okay, first off, the hang up phone sound was perfect.
Yeah.
Not the boop, but the
boop. That's it. David Sean McDonald said, I don't know if is he one of the McDonald? I didn't see Darsh making a complete mockery of this roster until he did. Grumpy old man, I was wrong to question the curve. I'm fully on the fire, dumb Darsh wagon. Thank you. I saw it coming from 100 miles away, didn't I?
All of those trades, all those picks gone just to come short of making the playoffs. Great.
Perfect. What did I say was worst case scenario going into
exactly what happened, which is literally exactly what happened. Exactly what happened.
I'll have next year's prediction as we get closer to the season. I hate being right. I hate to say it, I'm right all the time.
So do you think Darsh will be gone after next year?
No. He gets next year and one more, and then he'll be gone. And then we'll never hear of him again because he'll never get another job. Never.
Well, he will.
Be a He's not. No.
espresso maker.
He's just coffee boy. He's the guy who mans the little milk dispenser.
Uber Eats.
I don't know what the hell he does.
Uber Eats employee.
Freedom Fun Adventure says, news for Grumpy. We just received a lovely dinner invitation from Son X, Wifey Y, Wife Y, and Dog Z. We were touched upon continued reading. We're asked to bring 20 steaks, dog food, a 70-inch TV, and a leather sectional. X, did you ask me to do something in your house this weekend?
I told you not worry about it. I got it taken care of. I got it taken care of. Don't worry.
Did you ask me to do something at your house?
It was redacted.
Yeah, he wanted me to hang up his televisions.
Nope. I asked if you could come over and help.
But then X goes, don't worry, I have Wife Y to help me out. I said, what are you going to do? Put those things 2 foot off the ground? Thomas Amato goes, Islanders could get the 3rd pick in the draft this year. If they do, great. I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm looking at guys around that number 13 mark. I've already got some names in the hopper that I'm interested in. It's my favorite time of the year.
We can talk about that next show.
We have plenty of time to talk about that. Yeah. Plenty of time. But I'm just going to say it's usually my favorite time of the year, the draft.
Yep.
Because the Islanders usually sucks. Actually, most of the teams I like suck. So the draft is always fun because it brings hope to every organization. Unless you're the Islanders and you trade guys on draft day like Roberto Luongo and Oleg Kavasha for Mark Parrish and Luongo and Jokinen for Parrish and Kavasha, and then draft Rick DiPietro. Look, that was a dark day, it was a dark day, my friends. Gugu says, if Darcy and DeBoer have any balls, they'll tell untradables like Mayfield, Duclair, and Palat to either waive their no trades or they're playing in the minors. Was Henny Youngman the king of the one-liners? No, he was. Rodney Dangerfield was better at one-liners.
No respect.
Do you even know who Henny Youngman is?
No, I know who Rodney Dangerfield is, though.
Did you ever hear the joke, take my wife, please? You ever hear that?
Yes.
You're lying. Okay. But he would have a guitar, he'd have a violin, and he'd tell one-liners, and do that. And he said, take my wife, please. You should look up his stuff.
I heard of him. I already know him.
David Sean McDonald says 12 million, it's actually 12.5 million in dead weight wrapped up in 2 pylons, Palat and Shen. That doesn't include Duchess Duclair. That's what was that? 3.5 million. Scott Mayfield. Like, you know what? No, Soucy's gone. Okay. Pajot, Engvall, Soucy. Soucy's a UFA. He's not coming back. Lee, after Dopey Darcy signs him, I'm seriously offended. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it
gets worse. It gets even worse.
It's the Islanders, dude. They're a losing franchise. We root for losers. We root for a losing team. I tell you what, every day I'm petrified. Here, you want my next big prediction? Matthew Schaefer will play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He is going to play for the Maple Leafs. When his contract's up, he's going to leave.
When Schaefer leaves, we riot.
I don't know why. It just everything that they do in this organization should be done to make this kid feel good about himself.
Stay here.
And yes, build around this. That's what you need to do. There's still time, right? He's not a UFA for another 6 years, but you need.
If you don't win anything or don't make a big run in the playoffs while he's here, he's going to want out.
Connor McDavid signed a 3-year extension with Edmonton. This is year 1. It's over now. They don't win in the next 2 years. He's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Well, that's the thing is people who have a winning mentality,
they want to
win. And if they see that they have no shot to do that on a sorry-ass team, they're going to leave. Because guess what? They're already getting paid the most because they're one of the better players in the league. So they already made the money. And then it comes to the point where they're like, well, I want to cement my legacy by winning a cup or making a really far push to the playoffs.
The eye-opener for me with Schaefer and potentially Toronto, I mean, played with Erie just like Connor McDavid. Toronto fan as a kid growing up. Probably has the Tavares pajamas, who knows. He had 1,000 people at that Toronto Maple. 1,000 at that Toronto Maple Leaf game when the Islanders were up there. 1,000. You know there's a lot of people talking at his at do you want to really play for that loser franchise your whole career? Do you ever want to win? I mean, that's what it comes down to. It bothers me. It bothers me.
So Grumpy, I have a question.
Yeah.
When Darsh inevitably is fired in 2 years, who do we need to contact to get your information pushed along to the?
They should have already contacted me.
They
listen to the show. They listen to the show. They hate us.
You think so?
I know they do. They hate us. Freedom Fund Adventure says because we don't toe the company line.
That's true.
We don't goose step to the Islanders' way. I mean, hey, I'm a winner. I'm a winner. We're winners over here. I'm trying to drag them up out of the depths of despair. They want none of it. Go figure. Freedom Fund Adventure says Eklund might not be huge, but you can see how hard he fought for position in front of the net. Haven't seen that from the Islanders in a while. Great signing Finley today, being Quinn Finley. Okay. The Islanders signed some guys, signed some of their younger players. We'd love for them all to pan out, but let's be honest, probably a big majority, most of them are not going to pan out.
Agreed.
And I'd love for them all to pan out. I tell you what, it'd be phenomenal. You could turn over your roster in 2 years if they all panned out. Probably not going to be the case, though, right?
No.
But I wasn't complaining about Victor Eklund. He's a dog. That's what you heard from me. He's like a dog on a bone out there.
Which is good.
Absolutely was good.
Yep.
Absolutely. He played the B team, so pump the brakes a little bit because Carolina was resting everybody, just about everybody. So, but yeah, no qualms at all about Victor Eklund. Gungun says, even though Darce said he wouldn't sign free agents, I expect there to be some off-season trades. Son X, were you ever considering a honeymoon in the Everglades?
No, I was not considering the Everglades.
You don't want to go alligator wrestling? Alligator wrestling?
No, not a fan. I hope some moves are made, but no draft picks going away. I honestly, if we can acquire more draft picks, I would prefer that.
I never want to move draft picks ever.
Yep.
What's up? Says Eklund and Foodie are tiny, not ready. Okay, Foodie's 26. He's not getting any bigger. Eklund is small. He's a smaller guy. Aitchison looks small out there against the men. Not saying it's always going to be there. Rich Arnold says Eklund will be a call-up. I'd like to see him make the you know what? If he even shows a speck that he belongs, play him, put him on your top six.
Yep.
I don't want to see them put a kid like that on the bottom, on the fourth line. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I want to see that kid a guy who creates offense. We need more guys like that.
And also next season, if we see that, there's no hope for the team's terrible, worst team in the league, bring up some of the young guys and see what they can do.
Right.
What the hell? If the season's already gone, bring them up.
I thought they should have done that this year.
Yeah.
Find out which guys in your minor league system
are worth keeping and which ones aren't.
Part of the solution. I told everyone right from the jump, this season meant nothing to me. Absolutely.
We said that during the draft. I remember that.
Nothing. Means nothing to me. It's about getting ready for the next phase of the Islanders. How many weeks ago, the Islanders should make the playoffs because guess what? Matthew Schaefer's going to get all that experience playing those 4 games against the Carolina Hurricanes in the playoffs. Well, that's why you don't make those deals because that experience didn't mean diddly do anyway.
They didn't even get to it.
And they didn't get to it. So you trade away all your assets. You handicapped yourself with the cap, and you didn't make the playoffs anyway. And here's the thing. It was going to be a 4-game sweep. They wouldn't have qualified for the last spot, even though they would have had the worst points. They would have lost to Pittsburgh in the first round.
Yeah.
Big Time says Darce should be charged with malpractice with that trade. Everything he's touched, he's messed up, honestly. It's the worst first year a rookie general manager has ever had. Ever. Matthew Cobowen says, here comes the youth. Excited for Eklund, Prokhorov, Eiserman, Aitchison, etc. They're still a couple of years away. And who knows who's going to pan off. Prokhorov's a big kid, though. I'm interested to see how he plays in North America. He didn't get a whole lot of ice time in Russia. He just didn't. David Sean McDonald says the fact that this franchise looked to be on its way up until Darsh rewarded us with typical New York Islander misery. Holy crap, 38 years of fan, and I've never been this pissed off, bordering unhinged. Are you unhinged unhappy, X?
I mean, okay, if you want me to be 100% honest, I kind of expected this to be the way that the season went. I said it from the beginning. I didn't even think we were going to make the playoffs. I actually thought we'd be the second worst team in the Metro this year.
What team did you pick to make the playoffs that I did next?
Boston Bruins.
Boston Bruins made the playoffs.
That's right, Grumpy. That's right. I know you should trust me. The whole season you were like, there's still time for them to not make it.
And here's the thing.
Make it.
They suck too.
Guess what? They didn't suck as much as the Islanders did.
Well,
they made the playoffs.
That's true. That's true.
That's right, Grumpy.
Okay. Freedom Front Bench says Holmstrom, Palmieri, Shen on the left wing. Oh my God, Shen is your third line. Man, you traded a first, a third, a goaltending prospect for a guy who's a third line left wing. Yikes. It's finished. Shen and Henneman, the same guys on left wing. Shen or Pajot. Oliver from the Blue Jackets, only D-men I return are Schaefer, Romanoff. Oh, fuck, man, no. Will thrive under DeBoer. D'Angelo as my number 6. No. Romanoff sucks. He's an abomination. He's the worst defenseman in the league. Maybe in the history of the league. David Sean McDonough, he's not the worst defenseman in the history of the league, but don't worry, he's getting there. David Sean McDonald says, should have brought up George instead of trading for Soucy. Exactly. Should have brought up Beckman instead of trading for Palat. Yeah. Andrew Beckman, who can walk, he's going to walk as a free agent. He's one of those, a certain age thing. He just walks 7 years in the league. He gets to walk as a free agent. Never gave him a shot. He proved he could play a little bit down in the minors. Why not give a kid like that a shot? You know he's going to give you everything he has.
Yeah.
Guggen says, Son X, you picked a fart bomb of a season to follow the team after the final buzzer sounded. Did you let out a scream? He did not.
I expected this to happen.
Big Time says, Pulak is not getting a first. I disagree. I absolutely disagree.
If he's getting a first, it's going to be like a late round.
He's 31 years old. He's under contract for another, let me see here, another 4 years at $6.15 million. With the way the cap is going up and what guys are getting as defensemen now, he'd absolutely get you a first-round pick. Perel Rising says Barzell has a limited 10-team list. Yes. So you know how you get around that? You pick the worst teams in the league to go to.
Yep.
Because no one's going to be they're not going to be trading for a Matt Barzell. David Sean McDonald says there isn't any room to bring anyone up. Why put Eklund on this lottery roster so we can turn him into Bailey 2.0? We already have Bailey 2.0. That's Simon Holmstrom. Matthew Sklar says, I would try and move Pelech. He has a modified no-trade clause, I think. Pelech has a modified no-trade clause. I mean, yeah, but then you're going to have to absolutely replace defensemen on the team. They don't have any who are ready to step in and play. Defense is the biggest, well, not the biggest problem, but I mean, how many high danger chances does Sorokin have to save every night to keep your team in games?
You read this one?
Yes, just read that.
Sorry.
Paf says Romanov should be a player, captain / coach. No, he should be shipped back to Russia, wherever he's from. Uh-oh.
Put that one up there.
Says, little punk X. Let me help you out, kid. Sorokin was the great behind the worst defense.
Was the great wall behind the worst defense in the NHL by every measure, with forwards who don't help out, D-men who refuse to hit or clear creases. I'm not saying that Sorokin was not good. I am solely saying I think next year he had a tremendous year, honestly, up for the Vezina. Crazy good year this year. I find it really hard for him to replicate that next year. I just don't see that as happening. And 2, by the time the team gets really good, how old is he going to be?
He's already in his 30s.
So by the time, within 4-5 years, when the team actually should potentially be on track to be a contender, a contending team in the playoffs, a contender for a cup, hopefully what we want, right? Hopefully within the next 5 years. He's going to be 35, 36 years old. Is he really going to be that good?
Okay. Just for shits and giggles, I just want to run down the Islander ages for next year. Barzell, 29. Horvat, 32. Lee, if he comes back, 36. Shen, 35. Palat, 36. Pajot, 34. Palmieri, 36. Holmstrom, 25. Duclair, 31. Engvall, 30. Cizikas, 36. Henneman, 25. Shabanov, 26. Gatcombe, 27. McLean, 27. Boy, there's a lot of guys with threes in front of their name. Defenseman, Romanov, 27. Pulak, 32. Pellick, 32. Mayfield, 34. Susi, he's gone, 32. D'Angelo, 31. Schaefer, 19. Boquist, 26. And you'll have Sorokin, 31. Varlamov, 38. Riddick, 34.
I have a question. Does the team pull up in like one of those old timers buses, that they stop pick people up at like the senior citizen homes? Is that how they come to the games?
That's the Alumni Association.
You get dropped off in that?
They got too many old guys.
Way too many. Way too many. Are they one of the oldest teams in the league?
They will be next year. Yeah.
God. And it's not even like the players you have are like top tier elite.
This is not Tampa or, a team that, your studs are in their 30s.
It's not like you got, Sidney Crosby on your team or, Alexander Ovechkin. It's not like they're a guy like that. It's like you have like average at best old players.
Look what Dubas did in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
The first year, he's like, okay, let's get Carlson. Let's go all in. Get some, we just want to get a cup for Sidney Crosby. They didn't make the playoffs. And all of a sudden, he changed. It's like, okay, let's just get younger. Let's move these guys out who are inspiring deals.
And he gave Sidney Crosby the option to leave if he wanted to. Yeah. He told him, he said, if you don't want, he's like, and he told him the direction what the team was going. He said, we're going in a rebuild. And he's like, I'm going to give you the option, out of respect for you. If you want to win a cup somewhere else, I'm giving you the option to leave if you want. And he said, no, we want to stay.
98 points for them this year.
Yeah. Been balling out.
And now here's the thing. Like Washington did last year, they hit on every single move they made. Pittsburgh hit on every single move they did this year. Kendall comes up, number 11 overall pick. Fantastic for them this year. Invigorates the offense, speed, quickness. Anthony Mantha revised his career. He's a UFA at the end of the year. I don't want to see him. He's 30? I don't want to see the Islanders go after him. I mean, I'm always leery of guys who have career years in their walk year.
Yep.
Always leery of that.
Like, why are you able to perform now, but you couldn't perform earlier?
Right. Okay. Matt C. says, DeBoer's comments on George leading me to believe Pellick is gone. More tradable than Pulak and would be selling high. First full 82-game season from him in his career. Yeah, if you could move those guys, okay, but Isaiah George is not good enough to step in for Adam Pellick. He's not. Now, if you want to say, okay, we move Pellick and put in George, okay, let's say you want to do that. And you get Romanov back and put him with whoever. You can't play him with George. I'm trying to think of who he could play with on the right side. I don't think you put him with Maybe Mayfield's always better with a puck mover. He just is.
Mayfield, Boquist. I'm just naming right-handed defensemen.
Yeah, they need right-handed defensemen. They don't have any in the organization.
They really don't.
So you can move Pellick. He's a left shot defenseman.
Yep.
But Romanoff, and maybe you could say Romanoff takes his spot. Maybe Romanoff and D'Angelo.
Do you see them keeping Susi?
No.
Yeah, because he's on. This is the last year his deal.
And he was terrible. He was terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
If you could move Pellick, get yourself a first-round pick plus. Yeah, I'd do it. Absolutely. But then you're taking
5.75 million.
I just don't know if that's what Darce is planning for, because it would just be a total 180 from what he did this year. Total 180.
I don't think he has any plan at all. I
Well,
don't
that's
think
what
he's
I'm
any
saying. I
plan at
don't
all. It's like he couldn't believe he got the job, and he's just doing, I guess, nothing to, or he's doing whatever he thinks he can do to potentially keep it.
He's reactionary. Everything he does is reactionary.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. If you want to double shift and go in the other direction, okay. I'd be willing to do that. If you want to move off guys who have term on this team and, try to go in a younger route, that's fine. I don't think
it's just so out of character from what we've seen so far that it's just hard to believe that he'd even be capable of doing something like that.
Jake Kiriako says, initially I wanted to make the playoffs because I thought, what's the difference between pick 16 and pick 13? Now I'm glad we're not in because it makes Darce look like a fool.
There you go.
Jake also adds, if Gretzky got traded after his age 27 season, you can definitely listen to offers from Matt Barzal. And I say that as me, my son, and now my daughter love Matt Barzal. The thing is salary cap. There was no salary cap back then. And Edmonton was in dire financial straits. Kind of different now, different situation. David Sean McDonald says, our only trade chip is Pelech. Pulak has no trade clause, doesn't he? Yes, and he's married to a woman from Long Island. Pulak ain't waving. Well, okay. Well, that's fine. You don't have any right shot defenseman anyway. You want to move Pelech? I'm fine with that. The Islanders Dynasty says, trade Barzal. Have you ever played? That guy makes everyone else on the ice better. You love to play with that guy. Those guys are rare. Do not trade him, LOA.
I'm not saying that he's not good.
You kept doubling down on it. I had to shoot you down on that.
Okay, here's why I was doubling down on it. By the time the team is good, by the time the team is successful and a contender, he will not be at the same caliber that he is now.
No one on this team is going to be on the same caliber.
And that's my point. And that's my point. Why would you keep them?
No, I'm not.
Your team's going nowhere. Your team's going nowhere. It's going to be another year of mediocrity. What you just had the last 2 seasons, and you want to triple down on that. It makes no sense.
You still have to put butts in seats.
You're not trading away.
You're not trading away your best offensive player. It's just not on.
Maybe you know what? If ownership was actually transparent with the actual fan base and said, "Hey, we just want to let you know this is the plan going." Other teams have done this in the past. Hey, this is the plan going forward. It's going to be some rough years coming ahead. We're looking to rebuild the team. We're looking to go in a different direction. The current direction we have of the team is not working. Please, please continue to support us while we go through this rebuild. Washington did that.
No, the Rangers did that. That's not happening, though. That's not happening. No, it's not happening.
But my point is,
there's a lot of other guys on this team who make a shitload of money that I'd much rather move than Matt Barzal.
Sure, I'm open to moving them all.
So, like I said, I'm not leaning towards moving the best players on the team and keeping the trash. Let's get the trash out.
You can't get the trash out. You can't move the trash. They're all locked into shitty contracts, and nobody's going to want them.
You can move Pelech. He's movable.
That's one guy. That's one guy that realistically might not even fetch you a first-round pick.
You need to get rid of guys.
Oh, I'm with moving guys, but again, you're not going to get any. Okay, how many picks in the second round pan out in the NHL draft? How many picks?
Good news for the Islanders, they don't have any second round.
How many second round picks usually pan out?
Or third round pick this year.
I'm talking about how many picks other than first round picks usually pan out in the NHL? How many?
Usually, I don't know what the percentage. Usually, like in the first round, guys who turn out to be really good is like 1 out of 3.
What about the second round?
It's less than that, obviously.
Okay, so if you can only fetch a second round pick for Pelech.
Okay, stop. Full stop. You're getting a first round pick for him. He's absolutely going to fetch you a first round pick. But even if you get a first and a second, it doesn't matter that it's a second round pick. You can package picks to move up. You can package picks to move down. You can package picks to get a first rounder next year. It's all about asset management. Don't be like one of those stupid fans who don't realize asset management. It doesn't matter how many guys pan out in the second round. It's about asset management. You don't have to use that second round pick. You can package it with something else to get a young player who's already established, or you can package it with a late first round pick, package it to move up in the top 10. Those are the type of things that you use the extra picks for. I keep on telling people this, and it blows their little minds.
Okay, so
that's
fine. I'm cool moving him, but if you're only moving one player, are you really doing anything?
Well, you got to start somewhere, don't you?
No, the way that this team goes, they don't move. Actually, we just give away the picks that we have.
Well, maybe Matthew Darsh.
We just give away all of our picks.
Anyone who's a Darsh supporter, he'll either have supporters next year or he'll have none. He'll have none.
It's going to be none.
He cannot go in the same direction he went this year.
Because I guess here's my thing. Would you rather watch the team be absolutely god-awful and miserable, but know that you're going to be picking top tier, top 5 every year? Or would you rather watch the team that you had this year where, hey, we're going to fall just short of making the playoffs year in, year out?
I'm a go for it guy. I've always said I'm rather take a little bit of pain at the early to step up in the future. Absolutely.
So why would you not
trade Matthew Schaefer? Maybe you should just trade Matthew Schaefer. He can get you a whole bunch.
Why would I get rid of Matthew Schaefer? Matthew Schaefer's not 30 years old. Matthew Schaefer's
a whole bunch of first-round picks.
He's not 30 years old. There's a difference.
You better play. There's a difference. All your best players.
He's not 30. He's not 30.
Can't do
I mean, you think the guys that are going to be 35, 36, 37 are going to be playing at the same caliber they're playing now in their 30s? It's just not going to happen.
That kid's going to play a long time.
It's just not going to happen.
Okay, next comment. JP says, Grumpy, now that they're now painted into a corner again, they'll have to trade Horvat and Barzell to get something back to build with. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see how. They're gonna let these guys' contracts expire and hope that everybody who's been picked turns out to be a player. They can't sign free agents. No one wants to sign with the Islanders. Nobody does. They'd much rather go to the Rangers.
So you think that they're going to keep Horvat and Barzal until their contracts expire? I get nothing for them.
I don't think either one of them are moving this year. None of them are moving.
But my point is, you think that they're going to keep them until their contracts expire and get nothing for them?
That's possible. They'll be pretty old.
So why would you not get rid of them now if you think that they're going to keep them and get nothing for them? So they're going to play. They're going to play for the next 3-4 years. Suck the next 3-4 years. Barely not make the playoffs for the next 3-4 years. And then you're saddled with getting nothing in return for them.
Okay. I'm not moving the better players on the team right now. I'm not moving the better players on the team.
Not the whole entire team with the exception of maybe 2 guys.
Oh, there's more than 2 guys I keep.
Not the whole franchise. Got it.
We can talk about that another show, who we'll keep and who we get rid of. But
clean it out.
There's probably about 8 guys who I'd say, okay, I'm not really moving these guys.
You were 3 2 weeks ago.
Okay, but you can't get rid of the whole team. I mean, like I said, we'll talk about that next week. But I'm going to tell you what, you're going to be surprised on some of the guys that I say, but it's only because of their age and contract status. Those are guys I'm willing to keep. And there's some guys I would keep, but the vast majority I would let go. But Barzell's not one of the guys I'm looking to get rid of right now. There's so many other guys who should be dumped before Matt Barzell. Sorry. Big Time says Edmonton would give you their next 10 first rounders for Sorokin. Well, if they want
to, I'd take the next 10 first round picks.
You know what? If they would give me 10 first round picks for Sorokin, that's a bye-bye. That's bye.
No, we can't get rid of any of those guys. We got to keep some on our team.
The most you can give is like 3 first round picks.
If they gave us 3 first round picks for Sorokin, would you take that?
This year, I want to see how bad they were because I want to make sure McDavid's off the team. And then, I trade him Sorokin. And then
you don't want him winning the cup. Is that why?
Well, then Edmonton won't be as good, and their record would be less, and they'd get a better pick.
They were this year. Hold on, in the East.
Freedom for Adventure says Pajot was responsible for the first goal against, then the breakaway, and then another big mistake. Letter discussed. 44 was already on vacation last night, but he's a vet leader, which was his last. When was his last fight? Okay. Like I said, he was playing for a contract extension. He got it, and all of a sudden he wasn't as good anymore. He's part of the cul-de-sac crew, part of that cul-de-sac mentality. Peter DeBoer has his work. I said it at the top of the show. He's got his work cut out for him to get these guys out of that malaise that they've lived in for years and years and years.
Edmonton was first in the Pacific. They ended the season,
season's not over.
No, I was going to say I don't think they. Well, not for everybody. It's not over. They played 79 games.
It's not over for them.
Okay.
Well, they're in the playoffs. And right now they are actually in second place in the Pacific Division. They have 91 points. They only have 2 more. Matter of fact, they have the same amount of points as the Islanders.
Okay, this year on NHL.com, it's showing 90 points in 79 played.
They have They have 91 points in 81 games played. Vegas has 93. So that's where we are right now.
Oh, whoops! This thing is stuck on April 8th. That's why.
Okay.
Whoops. There we go.
David Sean
I
McDonald.
had to continue to move it forward. I thought it would just would have updated when I hit refresh.
David Sean McDonald says Schaefer will not score as many points next season, not with this roster of pylons. I think he's going to take a jump and be a better player next year. I wanted him to get 60 points so bad.
I think he will be a better player next year, but I can't see the point production being there.
JP says the Islanders are stuck for a long time. Their wings and their D after 48 are either below average or totally shitty, and they're going nowhere. That's a fair assessment. But remember, it doesn't take that long to get out of the hole. You just have to be smart. That's the issue. Matthew Darce is not smart.
This is a funny one.
Freedom Fund says Sunex seems to manage Grumpy's assets pretty darn good.
That's right. I know what I'm doing.
Uh-huh. David Sean McDonald says we need to do nothing. Finish as a lottery team for the next 2 and draft in the top 3 in both of those drafts. That's what they should have done this year. That's why I did want Schaefer to play in.
He needed to play.
Okay.
He needed to play.
I was wrong. I was getting ready to say I was wrong. He absolutely should have been in the NHL. Selfishly, and it was always selfishly on my part, I wanted to play in college to play against men and then have the Islanders suck again, have one more big – you would have traded Lee and Pajot and D'Angelo to load up on more assets. Then you bring up Schaefer next year. You're going to have how many picks in the top 10 this year and for many years to come. And that's when you bring Schaefer up. And then you do a rebuild in 2 years. I said it would take 2 years of loading up on draft picks, and you could regenerate the whole farm system and the whole organization. They chose not to do that.
Now, how many years do you think the rebuild's going to take?
4, 5.
I say 5. I say 5 years minimum. 5.
Okay, 4 or 5. That's what I say. And that's if they get it right. That's where he gets it right.
They're not going to.
David Sean McDonald says, unfortunately, that's the best road because he's F this summer, which was supposed to be the last of this rebuild. We'll find out. Freedom says, there is plenty of ways to improve the roster. Bora had conversations before accepting the job about needed changes. I find it stunning. Staple is saying Mayfield, Pellick, Pulak, Palat. Who the hell is 17? Who's 17 for the Islanders? Used to be Matt Martin. Duclair, Cizikas, and Barzell are probably gone. I find that stunning as well. You can't move all those guys in one off season. I'd much rather move Horvat than Barzell.
I don't see a 17.
Okay. Maybe he's talking about Horvat. He's 14.
Yeah, but Horvat's 14.
I'm not looking to move. I'd be willing to move Horvat, who's already in his 30s.
Yeah, 31, making $8.5 million a year.
Yeah, they're not winning.
And you notice his play dipped off after
the
Olympics.
After the Olympics, he played his ass off. He wanted to make that Olympic team, and then he made the team. Did great.
Yeah, it was very, very noticeable. Very noticeable.
Yeah, it's like you could read a lot.
It's a lot of the players on the team, and I won't say a lot, but certain players on the team absolutely are selfish with the reasons of why they play well. They play well for their own benefit, which it either be contract extension, contract coming up, or, hey, I want to make such and such team. Hey, I want to win this accolade for myself. Not, hey, I want to play well for the team's success. I want the team to do well. It's all individual.
I've said it 100 times before. No one ever gets traded to the Islanders and they say, hey, I want to win a Stanley Cup. They're all like Jonathan Drouin when he came. Well, Beauvillier and Pajot said, this is a great place to live. That's why I signed there.
I mean, we honestly though, would you really consider the Islanders like a top priority or a top place for players to go though?
No.
That's my point. And that's why you get players like that.
comfort.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's why you get those kind of players. You're not going to get the players that are looking to win. You're not going to get the players that want to go to a big team.
It's not Toronto or Pittsburgh, or Montreal or Edmonton, or most U.S. cities where, you're grilled by the media all the time. You get softball questions all the time from the media. You never have to win. It's unimportant if you win or not. There's no repercussions to poor performance. It's a great place to play if you don't care about winning. That's the whole thing. You got to care. You don't give a shit if you win or not. Just about cashing that paycheck. David Shaw McDonald says, "This is what." Oh, did I read that? This is why we need to get rid of Darsh before he does any more damage. Well, a lot of people wanted to give him this offseason. I initially said I'd give him the trade deadline. I changed my mind.
I gave him till the trade deadline. To see if he did anything, and he turned the team. He literally buried the team for another 2-3 more years now. So I am all in. Honestly, get rid of him. Get him a little unemployment slip. Tell him to pack his bags and move out.
I don't like a GM who likes to be on camera.
I mean, again, what was the thing that I just said? Cares more about themselves than about the team.
There you go, X.
Even your general managers like that.
David Sean McDonald says, Pedersen costs the same as Palat and Shen. Who would you rather have? I'll take Pedersen 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. Yeah. Think about it. Pedersen, I think, makes $11.5 million. You're trying to tell me you couldn't give up a first and 2/3, or a first, a second, and a third for Pedersen?
And then brought up one of your young players.
Why
my
not?
God, to fill the roster gap. Oh, crazy.
Dan Miller says, I can think of one or a few or 5 things that cost the Islanders this season. Wah was not good enough. The team quit on Wah. Lack of talent on the roster, poor defense, a combination of all the 4 I said. Okay, Patrick Wah.
I don't think he was the problem. He was a scapegoat. He was a scapegoat. You just saw the last 4 games that it wasn't the coach's fault.
Here's the thing. Patrick Wah, Peter DeBoer is a better coach than Patrick Wah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying you saw in the last 4 games that it's not a coaching issue.
The team played hard, really hard, until Braden Shen came in. I'm just wondering if Braden Shen's a cancer on the team. St. Louis absolutely sucked out loud. They were the best team down the stretch after the trade deadline.
Yep.
Robert Thomas's game took off. Oh, Robert Thomas can't score goals. He's outstanding down the stretch. Braden Shen, and I don't know.
We're not in the locker room.
But I'll tell you what, our team's fortune sunk, and St. Louis's took off with that Shen trade.
Oh, Freedom also said 27, not 17. Oh, so you're talking about Lee.
Below average Anders. Okay.
Correct.
Just read that.
Oh, sorry.
But here's the thing. The team didn't quit on Wah. They didn't. They were playing hard. I just think it's when every game is like a playoff game, you just kind of run out of gas.
And here's one of my concerns too is how long before, and I mean, I guess it depends on, player to player, but how long before this, mediocrity rubs off on Schaefer?
I think he'll get out.
Unless you don't think he's a player like that.
I think Matt Barzal is disgusted being on this team.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wants to win. You could tell the guys who are winners. You can tell. Schaefer, they're winners.
I guess my thing is, if you're really a winner, why would you sign back with a team like that? Unless you care more about the money than winning.
You like the guys.
You know what? If you really care about winning, you're going to have to put,
Matt Barzal was dating some Long Island girl. Then he signed a contract and they broke up. And he's like, shit. You never go somewhere for a woman. It's a mistake. Every time. Mistake. Ari Chasen says, same team, same result. We buy into mediocrity. Yeah. We could have said, look at Pittsburgh and Washington as examples A and B on how you can retool on the fly. That's how you do it. Washington this year traded John Carlson, who was 36 years old, for a first and a second round pick to Anaheim. They bring up Cole Hudson. Cole Hudson who's the one in Montreal? one of the Hudson boys. They brought not the good one, not the one who's playing for Montreal. Cole Hudson. Lane Hudson plays in Montreal. They bring up Cole Hudson. The kid looks like he can play right away. He's a replacement right away for John Carlson. Carlson's bigger, Hudson's smaller. But they got a first and a second round pick for John Carlson. Think about that. 36 years old, pillar of the team, move him at the deadline. Why? Yeah, they were in the playoff hunt, but they said, you know what? We're not good enough to win. We move these guys.
That's what smart teams do.
That's what smart teams do. They bring in
Pierre. You can see the writing on the wall.
They bring in Pierre-Luc Dubois on the cheap. They bring in Dylan Strome on the cheap. Why? Because they were depressed assets in Los Angeles and Chicago. They got virtually nothing. Logan Thompson, nothing. That's what good teams do. They look for guys who may be just a depressed asset. You bring those guys in. Kent Johnson. Why not bring in? Kent Johnson's not like he's not talented. This team could use some talent. Maybe just needs a different situation. Why not bring a kid like that in? I guarantee you don't got to give up first-round pick for him. I guarantee you that.
And Weather and Aviation here says, question for you boys. Do we welcome back 91 to the fold?
He's not coming back.
Yeah, no. I if they brought him back, I honestly, that would maybe be one of the ways that we could get rid of Darsh. He brings him back, and then immediately the fans say we're boycotting the games, and they get rid of him.
The fans would love him if he came back.
Oh, my God. I couldn't. No. Sorry.
JP says, I agree with Grumpy. They didn't need DeBoer. They definitely didn't need to do anything with that Darsh has done. They need to build around 48. That's the whole thing. Build around Schaefer.
How do you build around him? How do you build around him? Is it by keeping the same cast and crew that you have? Is that how you build around him?
Okay, what you don't do is acquire aged veterans. I'm not saying that they didn't do that this year. That's my point. That's what they need to do. But David Sean McDonald says, no, grumpy old man. Schaefer is untouchable. McDavid also has a second best player on his team, though. Okay. Mark my words. If McDavid does not win a Stanley Cup with Edmonton in the next, including this year, the next 3 years, he's gone.
Yep. He's
gone. There's a reason he signed a 3-year deal, only a 3-year deal. And I'm not advocating for trading Schaefer. That was just to make X look stupid. He's untouchable to me. There's a few guys who I'm not Callum Ritchie, no way I'm moving him. No way. I'm not trading Casper Holmstrom. Not moving
Victor Eklund.
Victor Eklund, not moving him.
He shows, honestly, I see some promise in Eklund.
And I hope I'm wrong, but I think Cole Eiserman's a bust. I hope I'm wrong. Because I'll tell you what, you can't teach goal scoring.
Yeah.
He needs to learn he needs time in the AHL. That much I will tell you. He needs how to learn to play defense because he did none of it in college and none of it for the U.S. team. Did not do it at all. He needs to do that. That's why I don't think he'll make team next year. New York Ranger Mike says, Montreal, Buffalo, and Ottawa, light years better than the Islanders. True, and true. If those teams had a goaltender, they could really go with this. They could go a long way. Olmark is probably the best of the three. Is the Fowler kid going to be the answer in Montreal? I don't know. Fontainebleau sucks. Dubes was okay. And Buffalo was Pekka Luukkonen the guy? I don't know. Sorokin's better than all of them. Andrew Levy says, due to the recent skid, the Islanders are now have the 13th overall pick. They have a shot at Daxon Rudolph, a right-hand defenseman, future D partner for Schaefer. They need everything. I'm not targeting a position, just not. But there are certain players I'm absolutely looking at in that range. So maybe some guys that drop, maybe some guys that are latecomers. There's a couple of guys. We'll talk about that as the draft gets closer. It's my favorite time of the year. Nazato says, should Schaefer play in the IIHF? No, he should not. Nope. Give him a rest. Thomas Mayer says, grumpy old man, does Sorokin get the Vezina? He does not. That's going to be
Vasilevsky.
Vasilevsky's going to win Vezina. And he's been great this year. He really has.
Sorokin's been phenomenal this year.
And he just ran out of gas at the end of the team. Yep. But, I mean, if you were asking me who was more important to the team's success this year, it was Sorokin.
Absolutely.
Sorokin and Schaefer.
Yep.
Sorokin and Schaefer. And here's the thing. As great as they were, They were the same exact team as last year.
One win better. One win
One
better.
win better. Same exact team.
Yep.
And it was because of those guys.
Carbon copy.
The rest of the team sucks, and they're just getting older and older. Just not any better. Again, I keep on saying it.
Do players get better when they get older, Grumpy?
You know what? They age like players age like vinegar, not wine. They don't get better with age.
You should probably go ahead and trade away some of those players before they get older and nobody wants them and they lose their value, right?
Matthew Sklar says, give George a shot. What's the worst that could happen? You really want to know? 5-goal games every night against.
You know what? It couldn't be. You don't make the playoffs. Wow, shocker. We did that this year.
I don't understand why. And anyone who's listening to the show knows, what did I say they should do with Isaiah George? Play him down in minors, play him 20, 25 minutes a night, play him in every single situation, penalty kill, last 2 minutes of games, power play. It's the only way you learn how to get back to be where you can step in and play. Same thing I said they should have done with Callum Ritchie. Let these guys learn in the developmental league, the AHL, by playing in tough situations. Oh, you're a defensive liability or you need to work on your defense?
We're going to put you in every defensive situation so you get some reps at it.
That's right. So this way you learn from experience and what you need to do. Yep. That's how you seamlessly incorporate players from your farm system to the NHL roster. They don't want to do it. It's like the only way you get better at something is by working at it. I don't care if you hit 100 home runs, but you can't hit a ball to right field if you're a right-handed batter. I don't care that you're hitting home runs. Learn to hit the ball the other way. Why? It makes you a more balanced player.
Correct.
You want to be able to play in every situation. You don't want to be where the coach says, oh, shit, we need a defenseman out here for the final face-off here. Well, got nobody on the bench. Isaiah George, no, you're a liability out there. It's not the way. It's not, and it's not the way your team gets better either.
And then Thomas here says, Grumpy Old Man has been right year in and year out. It's just what it is. He had a good pulse of team asset management.
Yeah. I've been watching, like I said, I've been doing this a long time. David Sean McDonald says, exactly, Grumpy Old Man. I love this podcast. It's just great. Son X, people were doubting me, X. You remember they were doubting me this year.
They were doubting
you. Very highly critical.
I know one individual who is not on the show right now was absolutely doubting you.
A little scared, X.
Yep, was absolutely doubting you. Yep.
Son X, we need to get you up to speed. To be a real Islander fan, you have to have suffered for at least a decade. Yeah, 1 year's not enough.
You know what? I want instant gratification. I need it now.
Well, let me tell you something, X. You got to see the most talented, the most physically gifted Islander player ever.
That's true. So I can't complain about that. But I will say one thing. It would be different. It'd be different if I knew what direction the team was actually going in. So I could be like, oh, okay, you know what? At least if we suck, or at least if we're playing poorly, it's for a reason. It's for a purpose. You know, there's something to gain from it. At this point in time, we're just average and we have no direction. And I think that's the most frustrating thing is we realistically have no direction of where we're looking to go for the future. None.
Rudderless.
None. And that's a scary place to be. It is. Especially as a fan of a team.
It is.
It's like, I mean, what somebody says, hey, what's your team looking like for the next couple of years? No idea.
True that, X. You're right. Freedom Fun Adventure says, Grumpy, have you observed your two sons for a while? Makes me believe Doc Page and wife.
He says, Grumpy, having observed your two sons for a while, it makes me think Doc Page and wife Y must be calm and controlled adults. Am I correct?
Let me tell you something. TJ and Doc Page are very, very similar.
That is true.
Very similar. And little baby doll, my little angel, she's kind of a little diva-ish a little bit.
Ooh, little diva time.
But here's the thing. I don't care. I love her to death. She gets the warden let the little baby run into something today. And who do you think little baby came to for comfort? This guy.
Now here, let me ask a question. If she was a wrestler, what kind of wrestler do you think she would be?
She'd be a manager, first of all. She'd be the warden.
I was going to say that and I'm not saying that like solely on catchphrases alone. I'm judging this on would be Edge, where she would say, "I get what I want when I want. I call the shots."
Are you talking about Liza?
Yes, she would say, "I get what I want when I want. I call the shots."
That's true. She does. The whole world, honestly, in her world, everyone revolves around her. It's true.
Yep.
Freedom Funner says 3 picks is not enough for Sorokin. Fact. Well, you get some players too, maybe. It doesn't matter. They're not moving Sorokin. Freedom Fund Venture adds, True X, plenty of Islander players only play well when they are after something for themselves. It seems every year at the deadline, man, the Islanders pick up their play. Ever notice?
Mm-hmm.
Something I called long ago. That's what they do year after year. Boy, they put on a spurt by the deadline. Well, we believe in this team. Look at how good they're playing now. Then as soon as it's over, we can go back into our shell, little comfort zone.
Isles Den, I did not see it in the comments section. I do have the Twitter linked, but I'm only getting looks like comments from Facebook and YouTube on here. So those are the only ones I'm seeing.
Great job, X.
It's connected. It says it's green check. I don't know. So there's the last one to wrap it up tonight, Grumpy.
Freedom Fundamental says, Grumpy, what did Al Arbor say to Bill Torrey when Torrey asked him if he wanted him to draft Bossy? Same goes for Eiserman. Okay. Al Arbor, Bill Torrey says, well, we could draft Mike Bossy, but he doesn't play any defense, so we could play freaking Ham and Egger X. I forgot the player he was talking about. No, not Son X, Ham and Egger, anybody.
Okay. I was about to be like, whoa, Grumpy, shots. I'm catching strays over here.
And Al Arbor said, okay, honestly, Freedom, it's embarrassing that you even put Cole Eiserman's name in the same sentence as Mike Bossy. Just saying. But that being said, Al Arbor says, if he's got hands like that, I'll teach him how to play defense. Mike Bossy was not an abomination playing defense. Cole Eiserman is. He's a goal hanger. Likes to hang. Mike Bossy didn't do that.
Yep.
He could pick a spot.
Yep.
Remember, there's an awful lot of net there. He could pick a spot. I don't know what he would do with today's sticks, honestly.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. That's a good question. Is what would some of the imagine Wayne Gretzky playing with today's technology?
Now the goaltending has changed also.
It absolutely is a lot better. I think you'd see a lot of goals that were scored back in the day. Definitely would not be goals now.
Well, that's Patrick Waugh was the first guy who came in with the butterfly style.
But I was also going to say too, at the same point in time, nutrition and
goaltenders are bigger now.
All that stuff is so much more improved now. That's why the athletes are so much better. Like, imagine some of the guys back in the day, if they actually had like a nutritionist, they actually had somebody who, trained them and stuff like that. And, worked with them nonstop. They worked on their game nonstop. And then with also the up technology as well, how good they would be. It's something interesting, honestly, to talk about.
I don't know if Gretzky's numbers, I don't think Gretzky's numbers would have been as good, only because he was not a great skater. His hockey sense off the chart, though. I mean, you're talking hockey, but I don't know if he'd be able to park in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
You also wouldn't be able to keep teams together like that either.
No.
Mario would have excelled.
He could transcend time based on his game. I agree with that.
4, 215, skate like wind.
Yep. Absolutely was a guy who could play at any generation.
And you couldn't, if the rules have where you couldn't touch a guy.
Yeah.
And Bobby Orr is the other one. Bobby Orr, sensational. Matthew Schaefer Jr. That's Bobby Orr's Matthew Schaefer Jr.
Whoa! I think you mean Matthew Schaefer's Bobby Orr Jr.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Isles Den says, I feel like this team was really just carried this season by 5 players: Barzal, Horvat, Sorokin, Schaefer, and Pelech for the first 75 games. Pelech was not that. He was all right. He's not the same guy, though. He was better this year than he's been in the past, though. How did the GM think Shen was a good ad? WTF? Want your thoughts? X, do you want to comment? Yeah, I forget. I'm just going to take this one, X.
Okay.
I think Barzal was good. I thought that Horvat was good when he wanted to get on the Olympic team.
Which we had stated. Yep.
Which I'm a Bo Horvat guy, but it always bothered me that he immediately signed that contract extension. He didn't want to leave Vancouver. They offered him 5 years, 5.5 per. He said no. got traded to the Islanders. He didn't even know if his family was going to like it there. Less than 3 days, I think it was, after he was traded, he signs an 8-year extension for $8.5 million. That tells me he doesn't care about winning. He was just about the money, which is fine. But it bothered me that his game really tailed off after the Olympic break. Just did. Wasn't the same guy. He was playing for something. The Olympic team before the Olympics bothered me. Sorokin, sensational.
Great.
I think just ran out of gas. Schaefer ran out of gas too.
But great, though.
Right. That's why I think he'll be better next year. He's going to know he's 18. He's going to get better. And Pelech was good in spurts. He was really good defensively.
Move him.
Okay.
Goodbye.
And I don't know what he was thinking. I think
he wasn't thinking.
I think
and I'd stated this a little while ago. My thoughts on it was people had looked at it as he hadn't made any moves. He hadn't done anything during the trade deadline. This is his first trade deadline as a GM, and he felt he had to do something. That's the only logical reasoning behind him making that trade or even thinking that was good.
Or maybe ownership said they want to do everything to make the playoffs. The thing is, he traded for the wrong guy.
Absolutely.
Braden Shen can't play anymore.
Yep.
That's his issue. He's looking, and what did he say? Well, leadership. These guys, leadership. Andre Palat, leadership. This whole team's been about leadership for years and years.
Yeah. They just haven't had pieces to do anything.
So you're saying the leadership wasn't good enough before?
The team leaders?
Well, obviously wasn't good enough. Braden Shen's finished.
Yep.
Andre Palat, finished. You pissed away assets for Braden Shen. If you would have brought in a Robert Thomas, I'd feel much better about it. Robert Thomas, under contract for the next 5 years, $8.5 million, whatever it is.
He's 26 right now, right?
26, 27. I think he's 27. But here's the thing. That's a guy you could build around. You can't build around Braden Shen. It was dumb. It was astronomically stupid.
And then Freedom here says 100% true. Plenty of Isles players only play when they only play well when they have something to do for themselves.
It's that cul-de-sac mentality. Yep. No one's held accountable. Look at Toronto. You don't make the playoffs one year, gone. Yep. GM gone. Coach gone. You know what?
Maybe that's another thing though. There's no fear.
Media. That's right.
There's no fear of losing your job that's involved. And maybe that's why the players just don't. I mean, I'm not saying that the players don't care, but I'm saying maybe that's why you get the outcomes that you get.
Media won't ask the tough questions.
Well, it's not even the tough questions. If you have no threat of losing your job year in, year out, regardless of how you perform, I mean, what nobody's holding you accountable.
It's the cul-de-sac crew. It's the cul-de-sac crew, dude.
I'm saying if there's no accountability, you're not going to get any different results.
But they're all comfortable. It's because they keep the same guys year after year after year after year. They all get comfortable. They're all buddies. They all like one another.
Well, why do you think that ownership is cool with them keeping the same people year after year after year then, if they're continuing to
they're absentee owners. They're absentee owners. They're absentee owners.
So how's the only way that us as a fan base can get something to change?
Stop going to games.
You heard it there first, folks. We're going to stop going to games.
Or here's the thing. Get yourself a Bill Zito type general manager. I said it the day of the trade. When they traded Jonathan Huberdeau, who was coming off, I think, 104-point season. Mackenzie Weegar for Matthew Tkachuk, who didn't have the numbers that he had that year. And I said, everyone's saying, oh, Calgary won that trade. I'm like, I said, he's the heart transplant that Florida needed. And he was. They had great players on that team, but they
were terrible this year.
They ran out of gas. They a whole bunch of injuries. Barkov out for the year. They were injured.
I think another thing that had to do with it is, going back to back on cups. It's got to be grueling.
Well, it was 3 years they were in the finals.
Oh, 3 years. That's right. 3 years you're in the cup finals. I mean, it's got to be grueling.
Okay. Well, the Islanders did it 5 years in a row. They went to the cup finals. Okay.
A different game back then.
Yeah, but 5 years. They went.
I'm just saying different game back then, though. But I'm just saying. I mean, okay. In today's, how often do teams three-peat, or make it to championship 3 years in a row?
Not often because it's free agency and stuff like that.
Well, I'm saying you're also playing all the extra games every year too.
The game was way more physical back in the day. Way more physical.
Yeah.
So the wear and tear in your body was way more than it is now. Now the guys are maybe in better shape now.
But they absolutely are in better shape now. There's not a maybe. There's not a maybe.
The physicality in the game
was definitely more physical back in the day. I'm not absolutely
wears you out. The physicality of the game is what wears you out.
Yeah,
that's what it is. They lost this year because they had a lot of injuries this year, and but when they traded for Kachuk, he was the heart transplant. You had Barkov. They made some shrewd signings. They got Sam Bennett for a song,
who was electric last year.
Sam Reinhart for a song.
Marchand.
Well, he wanted to be in a first round pick. That's what they weren't afraid to do that. That's
what was, I think, a turning point for them too last year.
But that's what you go for. That's when you go for it. You're a defending Stanley Cup champion. All right, we'll trade you a second, could turn into a first if we, go 2 rounds in the playoffs until you get Brad Marchand. He was hurt this year too. I don't know, the last 20 some odd games this season. You know how I know? He was on my fantasy team. That's how I know. Okay. And last comment of the night. I think it's last one.
We have one more after this.
That's fine. David Shaw McDonald says, LOL, anyone ever see Big Trouble in Little China? Remember the scene where Jack Burton was in the Chinese whorehouse wearing those glasses? X has that kind of look. Oh, my God, X.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
It was a Kurt Russell movie and kind of an unappreciated class. One of those guilty pleasure movies.
Wait, is that Big Trouble in Little Chinatown?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Big Trouble in Little China is what it's called.
Oh, okay. I've seen the movie.
Isles Den says, also, thank you guys for all the great shows this season. The honesty is therapeutic. Lastly, only said Pellick because he single-handedly made D'Angelo so much better. And D'Angelo was pretty good this year, too. He was.
Anything you want to say before we hop off today, Grumpy?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from the Grumpy Old Man and Son X.
That's right. And I want to thank everybody for coming out and listening. As always, love the interaction in the comments. Looking forward to the draft. Maybe some potential.
A long ways to go for the draft, right?
I know, but okay. What else do we have to look forward to, right?
Okay, but 2 months of the Stanley Cup playoffs are coming up.
I'm talking about, this is an Islanders show. I'm talking about the Islanders in particular. I'm not talking about, the remainder of the hockey season because I will be watching the playoffs. But
we'll see the Islanders not re-sign Anders Lee.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I said off-season moves and off-season acquisitions. I'm looking forward to that as well. And I was going to say in the draft, but you didn't let me finish before you jumped on my case.
Sorry about that.
So thanks, Grump, stealing my thunder. But anyway, love the interaction in the comments, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks, Grumpy.
My pleasure.